welcome to another exciting episode of Can It Take a K26? The show where we take a variety of blasters and see if they can be upgraded using a K26 spring, and if not, what can they be upgraded with? I am your host, Captain Xavier, and today we are going to be looking at a pair of blasters that were sent to me by you, the viewers. The first was sent to me by someone, I don't remember who, on account of I'm a schmuck, and I'm not good at remembering that sort of thing, but it is a Air Blaster Play Your Game, clearly knock-off hammer shot thing. And it has a number of features that I really like. The handle is actually more comfortable than a hammer shot's. The prime is the same. It has no air restrictor. It has 6 barrels instead of 5, but they are short. It'll actually fire half darts quite nicely, and full-length darts kind of stick out awkwardly. It doesn't have the whole front end either, but other than that, very clearly hammer shot. And I am curious, obviously it's going to have the same kind of priming mechanism, but I'm curious to see what the spring takes. Stock, it's only firing like 37 to 40 FPS, which is not impressive. Probably has to do with having what feels like a really flimsy seal. So we may look into altering that, and then of course we'll see what we can do about the spring. So let's get into this thing. Well, sure enough, pretty much the same, though the screws are on the opposite side. The handle is a separate piece that actually does come out, unlike the hammer shot, which really doesn't like to. And all the rest of it is one big piece, so that would make painting easier if you wanted the handle a different color than the rest of it. It also does not have the fake wrap, which I like, so that's neat. Other than that, pretty much the same, except, like I said, 6 cylinders instead of 5. Definitely could use a better seal, perhaps, but plunger looks to be about the same size and is well lubricated. And the seal on it is really good. Just the seal between it and the barrel. It was also actually really good if you could get it to hold. And it's almost airtight. That's kind of impressive. But this spring does look, well, dinky. So we're gonna see if I can't find a stock hammer shot spring kit around here somewhere. I should be able to. I should have quite a few of them now. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah. It's obviously not going to be take K26. We should probably answer that question. Just because. No. Nary so much. Okay, but this spring is definitely lighter than a stock hammer shot spring, so we're gonna start by just putting one of those in there, seeing what that does. All right, we'll put this back together. Okay. Put this back together and see how much of an improvement that made. But first, a word from our sponsor, Cthulhu. And there you can see how much a full-size dart sticks out, but a half dart fits quite nicely, so that's actually really cool. All right, let's see here. All right. So we're now only getting 45, which is still not terribly impressive. We may want to go to slightly heavier spring load at some point. But it is, as you can see, compatible with hammer shot springs. So if you get any upgraded hammer shot springs, 8, 10, whatever, various level of hammer shot springs, they will in fact fit in here, and you have a convenient 6-round half dart hammer shot that if you can figure out where to source these would be could be really nice. You might be able to improve. I mean, like I said, the seal is pretty much an airtight seal. Might be able to improve it a little bit, but that's a really good seal. It's just a matter of getting a heavier spring load in there. So I'm pleasantly impressed with this particular knockoff. I'd love to get my hands on more if anybody has a source. So, on to the next contestant after these messages. All of the K26 used on this series was donated by Out of Darts. Check out his new website at outofdarts.com for all your Nerf modding needs. Our next contestant is this super blaster gun thing. Soft bullet blaster. This was sent to me by Bubba Lobo, and it is clearly a knockoff cross between the Quadrant and the Bow Strike, I think it's called, where when you prime it, the sight and bow arms flip out, and when you fire it, they return. Other than that, that's what it is. Also, stock, it's only coming in at about 50, but being direct prime like that, rear prime, there's hope for it being able to take a fairly sizable spring. So we're going to see what we can get in this thing. Alright. Well, unsurprisingly, it's fairly straightforward inside. The only complicated bits really are the parts that cause that whole system to work, which you could easily remove if you didn't want it, though that'd be kind of silly because then you'd be left with just a Quadrant, and well, you can get Quadrants. The whole neat gimmick here is that it is a combination. Okay. Does have a padded plunger head, and it's not an easily removed plunger head, and it looks like it's going to have the same style of plunger head that prevented the Quadrant from properly taking K26. Yeah. Doesn't look like it's not going to fit into that particular floating plunger head well. So that's a bummer. And it's got a very tight, like you would have to find a spring that is exactly this size, but heavier if you wanted to upgrade it. But we're going to see what we got in the bin. But we need to find something that has about the same outside diameter. We might be able to get away with one that's a little bit thicker wire, but we really can't go much thicker outside diameter or it's not going to fit into that plunger head, and it needs to be about the same length. Now that one, I don't know what that's from. It doesn't seem to be about the same weight, but it's a longer spring. So we'll keep that one in mind. Let's see what else we can find. There's a possible candidate. Another one that's a little bit longer, but definitely feels heavier. Let's give that one a try. Will it fit? No. It's not going to fit into the plunger head. I didn't think it was that much bigger. But it is. It's got to be exact. There's another possibility. It's a lot longer and is a higher frequency, so we might not get enough compression with that one. I'm going to try the long one. I'm going to go for broke and see what happens if we try the really long one and see if we can get enough compression. Now we are going to have a lot of pre-compression on this spring, so how long this spring would last before it got warped down, I can't say, but until then, if it'll catch, it should be pretty powerful. If. A lot of if on that statement. Okay. See if we can get it to go together without springing that spring. Alright, we got the spring in there. We're gonna button it up and see if it will catch. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Batmobile.
Pretty sure that man's getting weirder. Here we go! Oh, hey! It caught. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, let me grab a dart. The cylinder does not have... I am reasonably certain. Those are not supposed to be wobbly. I think that heavier spring load is having more effect than expected. Wobble. Anyway, the cylinder inherently does not have dart posts, so I'm going to fire a regular and a half dart just to see what kind of difference we get. Oh, we're up to 64. And on a half dart. Oh. It did not rotate in the direction I was expecting it to rotate. Alright. So 64 for a full dart, and for half dart, 72. So, not terrible. So, yeah, I was able to get it to roughly elite ranges, as opposed to previously when I actually meant end strike performance but I said elite, and y'all lost your minds in the comments. Anyway, it's roughly getting almost elite ranges now, so not terribly impressive, though you could definitely take a heavier spring load, especially if you then increase the catch spring. You would just have to find the right spring, because it needs to be a very, very specific size for this blaster, given that it has to fit between a fairly thick priming rod and a fairly narrow floating plunger head. In order for it to catch. There are some things you might be able to do to alleviate that, but I don't think you'd be able to get a much bigger, larger diameter spring in there. But if you could find the right spring, it wouldn't be terrible. So, let's recap. Alright, for those of you just tuning in or who just skipped to the end to see the results, that was a no for the knockoff hammer shot, but yes to being able to take any hammer shot spring upgrade. And it turns out it's basically chambered for half dart and has 6 barrels. So, I kind of want to get some more of these and see just how far I can push them and have them firing half darts. And that was also a no for the Super Blaster Gun Soft Bullet Blaster, which is a quadrant bow strike merge knockoff. But yes, again, to a spring upgrade, though you'd need to find a really specific spring if you want to get it up to anything above elite ranges, though perhaps improving the barrels would help, though it may not. It also will take half darts because it doesn't have dart posts, but it is more designed for full-length darts. So yeah, both of these were neat. I mean, if you can get them for super, super cheap, they're not terrible options, and they do have some mod potential. I definitely want to get some more of these if anyone knows a source for them. This one, I'm not, the one is plenty. But there you have it. If you have any suggestions, questions, comments, concerns, requests for future episodes, I do have a box full of random blasters still that have been sent to me and that I've acquired that are more in the I'm going to try to put K26 in, but they're probably going to break category. And, yeah, comment section. And as always, thank you for watching.